Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Peter here with you. Today I'm going to show you how to create image previews and also video previews. So for example, you want to upload an image file or you want to probably a video, but most of the time we use image for this. And then you want when the user selects the image, you want to show them how the image looks. Then I'm going to show you today how to do that using your React.js. It can also be done from your JavaScript, but I'm using React.js here. Now, let's get straight to the video. All right, so over here I am in codesandbox.io. So I have created a code sandbox for this demo, and I have selected a React project that is using Vite and TypeScript. So this is just what I got from code sandbox here. So I have a Vite project. I think this is the README that is open for me, and then this is what I got when it runs. So very quickly, I'm going to go into the source. So let me zoom this a bit. I'm going to go into the source here, and I'm going to go into the app.csx, which is where all these things that I'm seeing in my browser are. Let me shrink this a bit, and also increase this one, I believe. Yeah. So I want to remove everything here. So I'm going to go down here, copy everything inside this div, and remove that. So once I save, everything is gone. I don't need this state here also. Probably I don't need any of these. Yeah, so I think that's it. I might clean up the CSS, but I'm not going to do anything with the CSS. So what are we going to do here? First of all, let's create an input field that is going to be of file type. So I'm going to say input, and it's going to be of type is file. So that's to show that I want to accept file. So if I save now, you see an input field that says choose file, no file chosen. So if I click on it now, it's going to open up my files for me to choose something from there. But that is that. Now, what else do we want to do? First of all, I just want to do this for design sake because nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to have choose file, whatever on their screen. So I'm going to use a label to represent this. So I'm going to copy this input here. So let's create a label. So it's a label which is going to HTML4. Remember, this is a React application and we don't have for here like we do in HTML itself. So we have to say HTML4. And we say HTML4, let's call it file. And let's close the label. So let's just write select select file. Now, with this label, you can add some maybe custom things that you want to do. Maybe you want to add an upload logo or whatever, or like an icon there, but I will leave it like this. Now I'll go down and then I'll have my input field still here. But this time around, I'm going to pass an ID. So this ID is going to enable it that when someone clicks on the label, it will trigger the input field. So I'm going to say ID is equal to file, and I save. Now, if I click here on the select file, it's going to trigger the input. Now, what do I want to do? First of all, I want to remove the input field from showing on the page. So I'm going to add an inline style here. I say style, and I'm going to say display none. So it's not hidden. I don't want it to stay to take any position in layout. I want to say display none. So I don't want to see it at all. So that takes it away. But remember, if I still click on the select here, it's going to open up my file because it's been triggered. Okay, now that is done. Let's go back here. We now have our label. One thing I need to add to the label is just to say I want it to be style of display block because label is an inline element. So I'm going to say display block so that when I add any other thing I want to add, they don't just show on the side because image is also an inline element, and if I add both of them, then the image will be showing on the side of the label instead of below the label. Okay, now that we have this, what do we do? Let's go and create states. We are going to use React state to have it. So first of all, we are going to have a state to store the file. So say const, let's call it file and set file, which is going to be equal to use state. And we are going to have, remember this is a TypeScript application. So we're going to have is either going to be a file or a blob or a media source. So these are the kind of thing we would have, and probably if there's nothing, we'll have null. So and then we are going to say it's defaulting to null. So right now it simply defaults to null, which simply means that we don't have anything at all. So I think I can't minimize this anymore. So I'll stop here. All right. So we have created a state. Let me push this down a bit so that you can see it well. Yeah, we have a state here now that is holding a file. One other thing we need to do is to create a state to hold the preview image or video. So, like I said, we are going to preview it. When the user selects, we show them how it looks. So what we want to do is, let's also create another state to hold that uh, file or blob or media source that the user wants to preview, which is different from the one we want to store. So in the case, for example, we have state to upload these images. This first one that we have created is just to hold the content itself. Then this next one we want to create is to hold the preview, whatever we want to preview. So let's go back here and create another state. Let's call it const preview URL and set preview URL. It's going to be use state. Now this is going to be simply a string. It's going to be a string. So initially it's going to be an empty string. Yeah, because when we create that, is going to be a string that we'll get back. All right. So we have created two states now. One to hold the actual content of our file, and then the second one to hold the preview URL. Now, how do we handle this? Let's create an event handler here. So let's call it handle file upload. So const handle file upload, and it's going to take a prop, which is the event, and the event is going to be of type form event. We are going to get form event from React. So if you go here, you see import form event from React, and the form event is of what type of event? So this is an input field, so it's going to be HTML input element. So that is the kind of form events that we have. I think we have a bug, probably. Okay, maybe okay. We need to put this here equal to this. We didn't create our function completely, so I save now, and the bug that is gone. Now inside this function, what do we want to do? We already have an event here, and then we have to call this function in our input field. So on change, that is whenever the user selects something in our input field, we want to call that handle file upload. So I'm going to say on change, and we're going to say handle file upload. So this is going to take care of all the file upload here. Now let's go back here and let's do the magic of the image preview here. So what do you want to do inside this handle file upload? We're going to say if e.current target. If you're writing JavaScript, it's going to be target e.target dot files. So if this is available, if it is not null, then what do we want to do? We're going to say const underscore file. We are going to extract the first file from this array that is coming, because it's going to come back as an array. So we want to extract the first file. We're just working with the single file that is coming. So I'm going to say e.current target dot files at position 0. So we want to get back that particular a single file. Now that we have this single file, we will then update our state, which is holding the actual file that we have. With that, so I'm going to say set file to be underscore file. So we have not updated this particular one to have the current file that was selected by the user. But now let's create what we would use for our image preview or video preview, which we are going to actually focus on. So we're going to say const preview file is equals to URL dot, I'm coming back for this, create object URL, and we pass in either a blob or a media source. I'm going to pass in underscore file. Now, this is what we are going to use to create our preview, image preview. So when we call create object URL, which is URL.createObjectURL, we are going to pass it either a blob or a media source, and it's going to return back for us a string, which we can now use to display our video or our image on the browser. This URL.createObjectURL, it's a static method that creates a string of URL that represents the parameter that was passed to it. So when we pass this file here, it's going to create a string. of a URL that is going to represent this file that we have passed to it here. And then we ourselves will take that file and then render it in our browser. So we can show it to maybe the user or whoever is uploading their file, and then they will see the content of that file. Probably they don't like it, they can change it. All right then, so we have this now. What do we want to do? We also want to update the set preview URL. So we are going to set it to be preview URL. So we have now, with this, we should be able to render our URL on the page. So let's go back now and let's start with the image. Now, one other thing you can do is at this point here, where you select this file, you can do a validation. For example, let's say you are only getting images. You can say you want to test for images. So you can create an array, for example, like say const images, and let's say I have an array that says image slash png. Another one says image slash jpg or jpeg, and then you can come here and say if underscore files file dot, no, sorry, if images dot includes. So we want to check if we can find underscore file dot type, and then so you can check if it exists. So if the file type is image slash png or image slash jpeg or whatever, then you perform some stuff. Then if the image type is not there, maybe you don't accept that kind of image. So you can do validation. But like I said, I am doing this for both video and for image, which you can also create a video by saying something like video slash mp4, the kind of video that you accept. You can also pass this here, and then you test it. Oh, does this pass or not? Is it a video or not? And then that works fine. But I'm going to ignore this part, so I will comment it out, and then I'll take this away. So I think I'll also comment this out. Yeah. So you can do that, like I said, but I won't check whether it's the image is what the type of image I'm accepting or not, or is the type of video I'm accepting. I'm just going to accept the file and then use it. But in your application, you have to do that so that someone just don't upload whatever you don't even want to use or anything like that. All right, so let's move on. Now we have this. Let's go back to our HTML here, our JSX actually. This is React. And let's go below after the input field. Let's do something here. We are going to say we are checking if there is a preview URL. So if you have preview URL, the first time we're going to use an image, we're going to say and. So this simply means that if the preview URL is not there, nothing is going to show. So we're going to say preview URL. If you have preview URL, then let's render an image. So the first time we're going to render an image. So I'm going to say that the source is the preview URL. And let's just give it a height of, let's say, 240. And let's give it a width of 320. And if I save now, okay, what is wrong with us here? What do we have wrong? Okay, it seems like I didn't close my image. So let me close the image and save again. Yeah, that was what was wrong. I forgot to close the image tag. Now let's select an image here. Let's click here. Let me look for an image. I think this is an image, and I will select that and open. Now you see that the image preview has worked fine. So once I selected that, the image showed up on the page. Now the same thing can be done for video. So I'm going to comment out this one that we did for this. If I save now, that is going to go away. Now let's go back and create for video. So let's say preview URL. So if you have preview URL, we are going to create a video source. So I'm going to say video, and I'm going to close it by video. Now inside my video, I'm going to have a source. And I'm going to pass in source attribute. Where is the source going to be? The source is going to be preview URL. Now the video, let me pass in some parameter to the video attribute, I mean. So let's say width of 320, just like we did for image, and then a height of 240. And I'm going to pass in controls, and I can also pass in autoplay. So I want you to just immediately you add it, you start playing. Now you don't have to do that. So we didn't add anything actually. So let me remove this autoplay because I haven't selected anything. Okay, I think I needed to refresh this because one thing with objects create or URL or create object URL that I didn't mention is that when we create it, it's the browser keeps it persisted until either the browser is reloaded or the document is removed. So now when we did this again, the preview URL is still in state and then it just tried to get that. But remember, we actually uploaded an image, so nothing is going to show. This is not a video, and that is why it's blank here. So I'll come back to how to handle this. So let's go back and let's actually reload the page. So I reload. Now let me actually go and pick a video. So let's go and look for a video. I'm going to look for a video. So I have a video now and I'll pick this video. Now you see the video just starts and okay, I've removed autoplay, so I'm going to click on play now.
Hello guys,
And the video starts.
landing page is
Let me mute it.
one thing that we all have.
So I've muted it and it has controls. So this is just a video preview. This is not the actual video itself. The video itself is stored in our file. But oh, let me stop this. But then this is a preview of the video. So with this now, we can create a image preview for our image or video preview for a video whenever we are uploading a video file. One other thing we need to do is, let me go back. I've taken that out. I want to show you here is that whenever you create this, if you remember what happened when even though we remove that, we still have this in state. So we still have this video here and it's also in the browser. Now this can affect your performance. So how do we remove it? If you are sure that you're not using this again, the best thing to do is to remove it yourself. You don't have to wait for the user to close the tab or to reload the page for it to be gone. So for you to remove that, you simply say URL.revokeObjectURL and then you pass in whatever you want to revoke. So in our case, we want to revoke the preview URL. So once we call this now, it's going to take away this preview URL that was created initially. Now, but if I leave it like this, it's not even going to work at all. So if I save now, okay, and let me also go and uncomment the video part so that we can just select the video again to test. So I've uncommented this now. Now it's not going to work. Now this is the one that was there before. So let me just reload again so that it goes away. Now we don't have anything in the browser. Let's select again. This time around, the video is not going to work out. Now it's not working. Why is it not working? Because I called this URL revoke object URL after setting it. So you want to make sure to call this when you know that you are not going to be using the preview URL anymore. So maybe, I don't know, but find out, you would find maybe when your user navigates another page, you want to make sure that it's cleared. Probably if you are using like doing this in a use state, you want to return a cleanup function to remove this. But this is not a use state. This is just where a user uploads a file. So for example, let's say you want to upload an image or a video, you just show this user this preview. Once the user clicks upload, you can remove it. So you can just call this one to remove it from the browser. So that is that. And with this now, you are able to create image preview in your React application or wherever you want to use that. Very, very simple. All right then, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. I want to read your comments and your feedback on what you think about the video. I will see you in the next one.